Good morning, everybody. So let us start our lecture today. Sorry, we did have internet issue in this classroom, so I'm a few minutes late. So everybody who is in online, please mute yourself. So who is connected? Oh, so everybody who is connected online, please keep yourself mute. Thank you. So let us start our lecture this morning. Yep. Please keep yourself mute, everybody. So today is August 24, right? So we will discuss variable, assignment, and data types, and I/O operation. Okay. So today we will discuss this. Okay, and let us see. So in our last lecture, we are discussing a programming primer, and then we discussed the format or skeleton of a program written in pseudocode format or of an algorithm or program, whatever you say, in pseudocode, in C#, in C++, and Java format. Okay, and I gave you a homework. The homework was not supposed to turn in, but I asked everybody to practice. Okay, please honestly tell me how many of you had a chance to work on the homework. Okay. I wish everybody, I will not give it too difficult homework. Okay, but I will every day, almost every week, I will give you something to practice. Okay, so then it will be better for me and for you also if you do those programming practice at home. Okay, so in our last lecture I told you that I would not teach something, right? What are those that I would not teach something? I will not teach. What are the content that I will not teach in this class? I will not teach math, right? I will not teach English, right? Okay. Another thing is that I will not teach you how to run in the field of programming. What do you mean by run in the field of programming? Okay, let us recall that when we were a little baby, right? When we were a little baby, our parents taught us how to walk, right? They hold our hand or fingers and they taught us how to walk. Okay, and we do also. Whenever we have a little baby or brother or sister or any relative, we teach them how to walk, right? Do we teach them how to run? We don't need, right? If they can walk and if they are good health, it is supposed that they run, they know how to run by themselves, right? Similar thing in this course. I will teach you how to walk in the field of algorithm development and programming and problem solving. Okay, I will not teach you how to run. It is your responsibility, okay, to learn how to run. And as much as you practice, you will learn how to run in this field. And in order to be succeeded in this course, you must learn how to run, right? I cannot teach you how to run in the field of programming. That means you practice. Once you practice, you will be learning. Okay, and last more thing, another thing is that, you know, in this semester I told you that there are about 1,200 people, students taking this course. So there are 5-6 professors teaching. I am teaching about 250 students in 2 sections, okay? So as a human being, it is not possible for me that I will teach, I will try though, same thing in two sections, right? I will try to make almost similar, but there will be some variation, right? Maybe 90% will be same, and the 10% will be different, right? From one section to another section. And similar variation, maybe 20% variation will be happen from section to section, professor to professor, right? But we will be making our test common or similar test. Okay, so I cannot guarantee that everything that in your test will be from my lecture, but will be from my concept, from the book. Okay, so you have to read the book. Once you read the book, you will get almost all questions, test questions, and from the book, and also for quizzes from the book and then lecture, right? I cannot give you guarantee that everything that in your quiz question or test question will be from my lecture, because of the variation of a large number of students. Okay, but once you practice, you should be good. Anyone has any question or objection regarding this? Okay. Okay, remember that I'm telling that I will not teach you how to programming, running. Okay, I want to simulate the word running with programming. Okay, I will help you to start programming. Okay, then it is your responsibility to learn programming. Okay, and so once I give you homework, although you don't need to turn in, please practice. Okay, and I ask you everybody to create an account on Replit. How many of you do not have a Replit account yet? You don't have? I'm sorry, you should have. It is free. So do I need to give another candy for that? Okay. So people from online also, please create your account on Replit. Okay, and then in our last lecture, I asked you to practice a program like this one, maybe this one, right? Okay, this one, in all 3 languages, right? Okay, it is very simple, and I discussed that in my class. Okay, so today we will learn about variable. Okay, so a variable, as we know that the name refers, a variable is a thing that varies, right? So from our algebra or mathematics, we are familiar with variable like a, b, c, x, y, z, p, q, r. Those are the variables, right? Why do we call them variable? They hold different values, right, at different time, right? For instance, if we say that x plus y equal to 2, that is an equation of a line, right? So if we say x plus y, give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 more second. Okay, if we say x plus y equal to 2, right? Here x and y are variables, right? If I say 2x plus y equal to 2, then 2 and then say if say 20, then 2 and 20 are constant, right? X and y are variables, right? Sometimes we say that y equal to, then in this time y equal to 20, okay, sorry, minus 2x. Then we say x is independent variable and y is dependent variable, right? Okay, and in our, this is also, we say this is an expression. This is an expression, or this is a statement. In programming we will say, okay, on the right side an independent variable and left side is dependent variable. The value of y depends on the value of x, right? This is why we say y is dependent to x and x is independent, right? So what, we can put any value. There is no restriction over here. There is no restriction. We can put any real number for x that will give us a value for y. So in order to hold the value for x and y, we need to put this value in a memory, computer memory location. Okay, we do not see computer memory, but if we open the computer case, we see the inside the memory chip. Every memory chip has ability to hold value. Okay, those value are not visible here, but we will believe. Okay, we believe that there are variables, those hold in computer memory. Okay, so what is a variable? So a variable is a chunk of memory, computer memory. Okay, so in simple or real world, a variable hold a value that may vary. Okay, for instance, look at the chair. In the back of the chair there is a number. For every chair there is a number. You see, your number I saw that 41. Next one is 42, right? Next one is 43. Should be this way. Okay, so if we say 41, so in computer memory, computer programming, we cannot give a name. We need to give a name of a variable. For instance, each chair has a name or number, right? So if we say S41, instead of 41, let us say put S is in Sam, S41. Okay, seat 41, S42. Okay, variable must start with a letter first. So S41, S42, S43, S41. What is your name, please? Adam. Okay, so Adam is sitting on S41 today. Okay, how about, so if we assign a seat number for Adam as S41 for every day, that means whenever he comes this room, he will sit on the seat number 41. Okay, but if someone already sits over there, he will not override that. Okay, he will take the place in another nearby or some other place. Okay, not two people will sit on a single seat, right? Okay, and then the tricky interesting thing is that the sticker is that S41, right, is your number. How about if you take that sticker with you? Whenever you leave this room, one thing, you can take the chair with you, right? And when you come back, you can come back with the chair. But that is difficult, right? It's easier that you take the sticker with you, right? So whenever you come here in this room, wherever you find an empty seat, initially all the seats will be numberless. But whenever you find an empty place, you will sit over there and you will put the sticker on that seat, and that seat will be 41. So today this chair is 41, next day that chair will be 41. Next day that chair will be 41. Okay? That way the number varies. But every time you are sitting on S41, right? Okay, this is the concept of variable in real number. So variables has particular type based on how much data it holds. Okay, for sitting on a chair, maybe one person can sit on one chair, right? Maybe if there is a little baby, they may sit two babies here, right? But we are considering as an adult. So an adult can sit only one chair, right? Okay. Similarly, think about our parking lot. In our parking lot, we park our vehicle, right? Private car, maybe there are different types, private car, truck, or big, cover van. Think about that. Is it require the same amount of space for every vehicle? No. Some vehicles take only one spot, right? A private car will take only one parking spot, right? Okay, maybe there is a large trailer that may need 8 times more space, 8 parking space of a regular vehicle. Okay, and some truck or maybe a van may need 2 parking spots. Some needs 4 parking spots, right? Some need 1 parking spot, right? So those are the, like in real life we use variable or spot. So you see that in a parking lot, maybe there are hundreds or how many vehicles are parked. Every vehicle has a unique what is that called? License plate, right? So we can consider that license plate is a unique variable name, right? So we can detect, we can find a car by that license plate number, right? So everywhere that vehicles go, that is parked in a parking space, wherever it is available, that should not overlap any other car, right? Okay, if it is possible, then that will take place. That is the concept of variable in our real life. Okay, so in order to use a variable, we need to declare a variable. Like for instance, we're talking about S41, S42. Those are the seat number, right? Okay, do not take the seat with you today. Okay, thank you. Okay, that the concept is that. Okay, so there are different types of data in our real life, right? In order to write your name and address, you need alphanumeric data, right? In order to express your height, you need to say for 63 inches or 65 inches or something, right? You need a real number or fractional number, right? In order to say, if I ask you, are you a boy or girl? So if I ask you, are you a boy? You will say yes, right? So some data need yes or no question, right? And true or false, that means binary number, binary data. So based on the type of data, so variables are declared accordingly. Okay, so there are 8 primitive data types or 8 built-in data types in most of the programming languages used, or mainly the 3 languages we are discussing in this course. There are 8 primitive data types. Okay, so we will discuss the data types today, and based on the data types, okay, so there is a variation of the number of space or memory space allocated. Like as I gave you that, for parking a small vehicle or private car, we need 1 parking space, right? In order to park a truck or maybe or a van, large van, we may need 2 parking spots. In order to park a large trailer, we may need 8 parking spots, right? And those 8 parking spots must be consecutive, right? Okay, same concept. So there are 8 primitive data types. Let me see in this, where this slide is that one. So in order to use those, maybe in this part. So I will come back to the previous slide later, so but let us go to that. So we got an idea, okay? So okay, I will come back from the beginning, but let's us discussing here. So it should be easy to discuss. So there are 8 data types, primitive data types or built-in data types. Okay. So 4 of them are siblings for integer numbers: byte, int, short, and long. These are 4 types. Okay, and 2 of them are using for floating point data or decimal point data. Okay, holding decimal point, that is double and float. Another is character and another is boolean. Character type is used to hold only one single character. Sometimes we use, for instance, in order to mean male, we use M, gender, and female to mean female, we use F, right? So only one character we use for character type, and boolean is used for true or false. Okay, so how many data types we got? 8 data types. Okay, So it might be test questions. How many data types? How many primitive data types are okay? So 8 primitive data types. Okay, byte, short. That should be here. Short. Byte. Okay, byte, short, int, and long. Okay, so these are the keywords are used also for most of the language. We use these are also keyword. So all are written in small or lowercase letter. So byte, a byte type takes only one byte or 8 memory bit. Okay, consecutive memory bit is 1 byte. Okay, so a short type takes 2 bytes, 2 consecutive bytes. An integer type takes 4 consecutive bytes, and a long type takes 8 consecutive bytes. So if it takes 1 byte, then it can hold small data, right? Like if is only one small parking space is allocated, then you can park there only small car, right? Small private car. Okay, so if there is a large 2 consecutive parking spaces assigned for you, then you may park a regular size van, right? Large van, right? So if it is 4 consecutive parking space, then you may park a truck, or for 8 consecutive bytes you may track a large trailer, right? 26-wheel trailer, something. Okay, and okay, so these are only for whole number, positive or negative, or including 0. And this integer type cannot hold any decimal point. So sometimes we need to hold decimal point, right? We need to store decimal point, fractional value. So for those there are 2 types. One is called float, another is called double. Float type takes 4 consecutive bytes, and double takes 8 consecutive bytes. So in order to hold very large value, for instance, how many inches or how many centimeters a light goes in light year, in 1 year or 2 years, like very large number or very small number. What is the weight of a coronavirus germ? It has some weight, right? Okay, maybe what is the weight of an atom? Something like, in order to very small number or very large number, we use double type. And character type is used to hold only one single character, and boolean type is used to hold true or false value. So in addition to these 8 primitive types, there are also complex data types. Okay, we can build our own data type, that is called class. By declaring class, we can create our own data type. At the end of this course, you will learn how to create our own data type. But for now, at least for the first half of your class of this course, we will use only these 8 primitive data types. Okay, in addition to these 8 primitive data types, there is only another common data type, that is called string. Okay, so a string is an array or is a sequence of characters. Okay, that is a custom data type, that is not a primitive data type. Okay, we are coming back to there. So why do we have so many data types? Because we have our variation in our data, right? I asked you, in order to express something easily, we usually use something in, for instance, if we say what is your height, right? So we usually say 5 feet or 6 feet or something, right? But it might be difficult for some people or many people if we say my height is 72 inches or 70 inches or 75 inches or 67 inches, right? But if you say 6 feet, people easily can gauge, right? How tall you are. Okay? So sometimes we are familiar with pounds. Okay? For small item we use ounces, right? Or for liquid thing we use liter. We are familiar, we can guess how much 1 liter water will be, right? We can guess, right? Okay. So since we have different kind of data and we are used to using different kind of data, so we use different kind of variables. Okay, then a character type, it contains only one character and that character is needed to be enclosed with single quote. For instance, if I say this is the character in most languages we use char, char, or people say char or say character, but we pronounce that character but we say char. Right, this is okay, and this is a keyword. You must write this as like this way. You cannot say C is in uppercase. Okay, character, whatever, this is our variable name. Any name we can give in our variable, but not any name. Okay, there is a convention. I will take that later. Okay, so and this is equal sign, and then this is actually equal sign. This is what's called assignment operator. That means we are assigning value A for final grade. Okay, and we can declare multiple variables in one line using comma in between. So we say character new line tab quotes. Okay, this is character type. It takes only one memory byte. Okay, so Boolean types is used to display only or hold only true or false. Okay, there is a little bit variation in some languages. Okay, so for instance, in some languages, maybe Python, some languages use T is in uppercase, F is in uppercase. Some languages use, but for here we will say we will see in C++, C# and Java we will use true and false, or in same way lowercase, but there is a variation in the keyword. Okay, in C++ and C# we use bool. Okay, and Java we use Boolean. Okay, this is the variation language to language a little bit. Okay, and for holding data, numeric data, these are byte, short, long. These are, one is missing over here. This is called short, byte, int, long. These four are siblings for holding integer value. You see that if it is long, that we put at the end L sign. Okay, and in general for decimal point we use double is by default, but if you want to say float, then at the end you put an F either in uppercase or lowercase. Okay, by default it is double, and if you want to declare as float, then you will use F. We will go to live program. Okay, all of this we will practice, but I'm giving you some heads up. Okay, so let us try. Do you see any problem in this code, in this statement? Yes. So here we say int x equal to 7.4 f. In some languages, or at least the languages we are discussing here, is type sensitive. These languages are type sensitive. Okay, case sensitive and also type sensitive, type bound. Okay, that is, whenever you declare a variable as integer type, you must put an integer value. So here the problem is that you put f, you cannot put f. Okay, even if you do not put f, if you even put 7.4 as an value, it will hold only 7. It will not hold the decimal point and the values after the decimal point. Okay, and it is okay. So for instance, this one, if you say float f y equal to 3.9.6, in some languages like C++ it is okay, but some languages like Python, Java and C#, it will show you an error, so you need to put an F over here. Okay, so when we declare a variable or use variable, we need to be careful assigning values. So this, okay. So there are some languages like Python or Scala or F sharp. There are some languages, those are not static binding. That means, so in order to declare a variable, you do not need to put the type in some languages like Python. So how it detects the type? Whatever you value you assign for the first time, it gets that type associated. So at the beginning, first time, if you put it we assign, or if it gets a numeric value, then it will be a numeric variable. First time, if it gets a string value, it will be string variable. Okay. So, but whatever the languages we are discussing here, C++, C Sharp and Java, these are static binding, static type. Okay, you must declare as a data type, correct data type. Okay. Okay, sometime we want a value that will not be changed during our program execution time. Even in our life, we have some values, right? We cannot change it. For instance, social security number, right? It may not be changed, right? Or our mother's maiden name. It is not changed, right? Okay, we may change our name, but we cannot change our mother name, right? Our mother name will be the same, right? So, like same thing in programming, sometimes if we want that value will not be changed during our program lifetime, that we declare as a constant. Sometimes a constant is declared more likely as a variable with a name. So people sometimes confuse that. Some people say, even some books say that constant variable. That is contradictory word. A constant is not a variable, okay? But a constant is declared like a variable. For instance, there are some variation in Java. We declare a constant variable using this keyword, final, double. For instance, this is my variable name, okay, and we assigned this is the value. For double, we do not need to put D. It is default is D, okay. And C Sharp and C++, we use CONST, constant keyword, and this is a double, this one. And C++, we use defined preprocessor. Exactly like this way, C++ people. So this is a variation between three languages in declaring constant. Okay. So constant are those that cannot be changed during program execution time. And it is a convention that the constants are named all in uppercase, but that is not required, but just convention. Okay. So maybe that I am the last phase of this slide, but now I will go back from the beginning. Okay, don't worry. Okay. So this is my target, that today we will discuss this up to this, but for my convenience I started from backward. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I will get it from the beginning. So now you have some idea, right? What is a variable? A variable is a name of a memory location. We do not see computer memory location, but we realize that, right? In our daily life, in our real life, there are many things we do not see, but we realize. What are the things? Can you give an example that we do not see, but we realize? Huh? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Another thing? Viruses. Okay, Adam should give an example for us. You recall that a few minutes ago when we started our class, we did not have Wi-Fi in internet connection, right? We were in great trouble, right? Thank you for helping us by giving your Wi-Fi, your hotspot. Huh? Not a problem. Okay. So Wi-Fi, right, or Wi-Fi or internet connection is not visible but very powerful, right? Okay. The viruses. So coronavirus is our great trouble right now. So it is not visible, but is very dangerous, maybe, or useful or something, whatever you say. Okay. So at this point, let us come back to the beginning here. So a variable is, in definition, we will give a variable as a location, name of a location that is used to hold a data value. Okay, a variable must be declared by specifying a variable's name and a type. Okay, its type is very important with its name. Okay, so this is type, integer type, and this is the name of the variable. Okay, so this is the count, temp, result, okay, total. These are the name of a variable. In general, these names are called identifier. An identifier or ID, okay, is a name just. Okay, we give this name just to so that we recognize the variable. Okay, so but we do not necessarily for now, unless you study that. So, for instance, we know the abstract, right? So these are the abstract word for us. We are not going in depth. What is int? Okay, we will know what is int, and we will not ask a question what happens inside the computer if we say int. Okay, it is not our study in this course. Okay, so whenever we declare a variable or we give a name of an identifier, there are some convention of naming convention of rules to give a name of a variable or a method, whatever we say, and of an identifier, in general an identifier. There are some restrictions in order to give the name of a variable. The first restriction, okay, before I give a name, before I discuss this, so whenever a baby is born, right, a name is given to the baby, right? We can give any name, right? But can we give any name to a baby? Can we give any name? No, there are some restrictions regarding culture, religion, right? Or based on family, or yes, there are some restrictions, right? We can give a name of our baby, any name, but not any name. For instance, if we have a baby in a home, Adam, he has your parents are Adam, right? If there is another baby, you have another sibling or brother, that is not given a name, same name, right? That is given a different name, right? So a variable, if you have a variable of a name, existing name, we are not giving same name again for another variable. We are giving different name, okay? We can say Adam 1, Adam 2, Adam 3. That is not a good way, right? We have a lot of names that we can use. Okay, maybe there are some restriction due to religion, right? For religion, so if we follow religion, we cannot give some name, right? For our babies, right? We gotta choose good name. Okay, so in program construction, there are some special words. Those are called keywords. Okay, all keywords are written in lowercase letter. You see the keywords for Java? The single word. A keyword is a single word. These are the keywords. All of these are abstract form. And it does something. Every keyword does something. You see that, notice that instance of, you see that instance of, it is a single word. There is no space in between. Okay, when you name a variable, we cannot give a keyword name. Okay, a keyword must not be given for a name of an identifier. Okay, so one restriction is that. Okay, the another restriction is that, okay, so whenever sometime maybe we need to be familiar with these keywords, and maybe so far we are familiar with some of them, some of these, like void, right? We are familiar with, when you write public static void main, we got familiar with void. There is main somewhere. Okay, so maybe you are familiar with class. You are familiar with public. Where is public? We are familiar with static. We are familiar with public, right? Some of them you are getting already familiar, but over the time you will be familiar with all of this. But for now, remember that all keywords are written in small case letter. Okay, so we cannot use a keyword to name our variable. Okay, for instance, I cannot say int. Okay, the int is a variable name, right? is a keyword name. We cannot give that name. Okay, and a variable or an identifier must start with a letter. It can be an uppercase or lowercase, but it must start with a letter. Okay, this is why I said S41. Okay, you can also 41S. You can say S14. That's fine. We must start beginning letter must be a letter. Okay, an alphabet. Okay, so when you type our program, you will see that keywords will come in blue, in different color. Okay, and then in some languages allows us to use an underscore at the beginning of a variable or identifier. In some languages it allows us to use a $sign, and in some languages a variable must start with a $sign, like JavaScript. Anyone here is familiar with JavaScript or know something about JavaScript? A language that variable start with a $sign, or like PHP language, some languages. Okay, it depends on the naming convention is different variable program to program. But for now we will remember that we are not giving a name of a variable as a keyword. You see that these are the keywords for Java, these are the keywords for C#, and these are the keywords for C++. But one thing is common, that a keyword must be a single word. Okay, you see that even if you say type of, there is no space in between, and you say for each, there is no space in between. Okay, a keyword must be a single word. Okay, and all in lowercase. Okay, and some languages like in C++, it has some like here you see that there is an underscore in between two words, but this is C++, older language. But modern languages are giving a single word, without using underscore. But when we declare a variable, we can use underscore. We can give a name, okay, using underscore. Okay, we should use a good name, so that by looking the name we can recall that what is the purpose of using this variable. Okay, in general, for instance, for naming a baby, right, if it is a boy baby, then we give a boy name, right? It is a girl baby girl, then we give a girl name, right? But it is not unlawful to give a female name or girl name to a boy, right? Maybe not unlawful, right? But it is not tradition. Okay, so we will follow tradition. Okay, so that by looking the name we can guess what is this purpose of this variable. For instance, total, if you give total, right, we guess that it is holding a total of something, right, or of at least two things, total of two numbers, right, two things. So in programming languages there are conventions to give the name of variable, and even in some companies or organizations they follow their own convention. Some people they write like underscore in between, some people they write camel case. The first letter start with lowercase, then say total, say like of say number. You see that it is recognizable that there is total of numbers, right? It is called camel case. The first one is lower, and then okay, Java uses lowercase letter at the beginning, and C# uses uppercase. This is the convention. Okay, in pseudocode sometimes we use, for instance, here this S1 is a variable, and whenever you say back arrow, okay, that means the assignment, that in S1 is assigned to 3, and S2 is assigned to 2, S1 is assigned to 1, and S4 is assigned to 0. So but if instead of this back arrow, you can always write equal sign. That is good. Okay, in programming language we will write equal sign, but whenever you type in computer, do not try to use backslash. some people may click on the backslash arrow, right? Don't do that. It's just you use a equal sign. That's fine. Okay. So here this equal sign, plus, minus, these are called operators, and we will discuss operator in our next lecture. Okay. So same pseudocode program is written in pseudocode. This is implemented in Java, and this is in C#, and this is in C++. This will be my homework for today. Okay, when you go home, so please practice this program. The easiest way is just copy from here and paste in your program. Okay, run it. Okay, make some changes in your program. Okay, but always the thing is that try to type in your program. Okay, do some mistake. Okay, and then whenever you do some mistake, the program compiler will give you an error message. Do not be panicked when you see an error message. Okay, try to read the error message, what it is saying, and try to understand the error message. So the next time when you get similar error message, you can solve the problem, right? Okay, there will be, see that there will be 30, 40 maximum, 30 error messages will be coming frequently. So be familiar with at least 10, 20 error messages. Okay, whenever you see an error message, read the error message. Don't be panicked. Okay, this is the way we will learn. Okay, so this is our homework today. Okay, what you will do? You will just practice this program. Okay, so you will see that in my class, in order to save my time, I will just copy and paste this. But you please practice. And if you have access to printer, I like you to print these slides. What that I usually do, and keep a hard copy. So even whenever you're lying down or you are sitting on a bus or train, maybe you can have a look, right? And you can mark in the between the empty space, blank space, whatever you understand, whatever you do not understand. You can use a pencil or pen. Okay, print this. Both sided, 2 slides per page. Print it. Okay, this is the good way to understand. Okay, there is another example. We can see. Okay, keys is an integer type variable, right? Is assigned to value 88. Okay, and this statement is print statement. It is printing a string with, so it will be printing a piano hash, like a piano hash. After that there is a space, and then it will put value of keys over here 88, then there is a space, and then you will print keys. So this is what. So try to make some changes over here. For instance, try to get rid of the space, and run it and see the output, and try to understand what is the effect of having the space or not having the space. Okay, so this is another program. So practice these 2 programs. Maybe I will give 3 or 4 programs today to practice. Okay, these will not take more than an hour. Okay, so same program in C. For now, please all of this program in all 3 languages. Okay, so this is another example. Maybe we will start from a small program, right? In last week we have a hello world program. Okay, and then today we are using a variable. For instance, this is another program. So I like everybody to practice these programs. Okay, so we discussed this data types, and now let us see from the beginning. Okay, so from the beginning we learn how to declare a variable. A variable is a chunk of a memory location. We understand about data types, right? There are how many primitive data types? 8 primitive data types. Okay, those are byte, it takes only 1 byte. Short, it takes 2 consecutive memory bytes. Integer, it takes 4 consecutive bytes. Long, it takes 8 consecutive bytes. Okay, there is no odd number of bytes except 1. Okay, all are power of 2. 2 to the power 0 equal to 1. Okay, so the last program I showed the review printing. So practice those one, and then third one, fourth one is string literals. I will discuss string literal today in my program. So these are the topic maybe we will discuss. I discuss program structure, I discuss character type, it holds only one single character, variable I discuss, assignment equal to, one single equal to or back arrow, that is assignment operator, and constant I declare, right? And I declare primitive data types. I already discussed all of those. Let me see what else I forgot. So program structure, we discussed program structure, and maybe in our previous day I discussed the use of comment, right? At least two slash forward slash is comment. That means that line will not be compiled. Ignore, okay? And if you have a block of statement that you want to comment out, sometimes when you program, if your codes do not work, okay, do not delete it right away, but put it in comment, okay, so that later you can reuse that or fix that, okay. Okay, in programming, in most of the programmings, and in most, unless few exceptions, white spaces are ignored, but blank spaces are ignored. Okay. So print statement. In our last lecture, we discussed print statement, right? Print statement. And this is in Java, we write system.out.println, right? In Java, and C# we write console.writeLine, and in C# we write cout less than side, okay? This is called output operator, output stream, okay? Okay, and one thing, this I need to give your attention, these one are called escape sequence. There are some characters that cannot be printed right away or exactly, okay. For instance, if you want to print something within double quote, you need to give a leading backslash in order to print a backslash within a print statement. That are the called escape sequence, okay. So please read this from the book, okay. There is some elaboration. I will give you some example, okay, in live program. Let me go. And then print and string concatenation, that we know that a plus operator that is used to add two numeric numbers, but in modern programming languages it can be used to add two strings. I'm coming to strings. We have a few minutes, we will discuss those, okay, in a Java program. So this is the program, okay. So if we practice this one, then we'll be good. Okay, so now I want to move back to our last lecture where we were. In our last lecture, we discussed this program, right? Mainly, at least, we discussed two programs in our last lecture. We discussed this one, right? Everybody remember that we discussed this program in our last lecture? Okay, so now let us start from here. I'll give you a clue how to practice other like 4 or 5 programs I am giving you as a homework for today's, okay? Please practice this program before you come to the next lecture. Okay, day after tomorrow. So let us open out this program. So where do we practice our program? You remember the IDE name? Okay, REPL.IT, right? REPL.IT. Adam, yeah, please create your account, and it is free. Okay, or maybe I can give you a bonus candy if you like. Okay, so creating an account in Replit is free, and I will frequently use it. to do our practice program. Okay, so just create an account in repl.it and then log into your account. You see that my account, you can create your account in few minutes, and you can use your personal email account or KUC email account, whatever you like, to create this. Okay, so then you see that if you have a program that in our last lecture we discussed, in your section I discussed example 5, right? No problem, let us go example 4. So I discuss another section. So I open this one. This is in Java, okay, and same thing in C# and same thing in C++. Okay, I just open in multiple tabs. I will practice this, but before that, anyone has any question? Okay, our beginning may be, for some people, our beginning may be difficult. But if you, okay, if you practice in the beginning, few programs, okay, then it will be easier. I usually give an example of this course as like a coconut. Have you ever seen a coconut? Okay, so the coconut is the dry coconut, not this irregular coconut. So I give an example of coconut, not green coconut. Okay, so the dry coconut. Has anyone eaten? Not this. This is green coconut, right? And those are a nice video. People using monkey to take up the coconut. Okay, so when you get a coconut, dry coconut, okay, if you grab a coconut, a dry coconut, and if you try to eat a dry coconut like an apple, okay, or then that will be the worst food in the world, right? We cannot eat a coconut like an apple, right? Okay. So if you get a coconut, then what do we need to do? We need to break the coconut, right? We need to break in its outer shell. You see that people is doing, and then there is an inner shell, the heavy hard shell. We need to break that out, and once you break that out, you will find the actual taste of the coconut, right? So breaking a coconut is the hard thing. Like programming, same thing, okay? So like breaking the shell of a coconut is difficult, but once you can break this coconut, okay, you can break it, then you will find actual taste. And whoever has eaten actual coconut, he will not like feel uncomfortable, he will not unhappy to break a coconut. Even if you give me 100 coconut for free, like this kind, I will take one. Okay, but I know how to grab it, how to break it, and I know its actual taste. Okay, so the programming is something like this. If you can break its shell, hard shell, okay, then you will get the actual taste of programming. Then you will see that you are spending hours after hours, night after night to solve the problem, to practice programming. But at the beginning part, in order to get interest, okay, find interest, you have to break out the shell. So for that purpose, you have to spend some time. You understand my logic? Otherwise, if you do not, the shell, you cannot break the shell of programming, then you will not find interest of programming. But once you break the shell of programming, then you will get actual interest and you will spend hours after hours for programming. You understand? This is why I'm giving you some example, maybe 4 or 5 examples today to practice. Please practice this as many as you can. Okay, but you don't need to turn into me. Okay, you have to do yourself. Okay, so here in this program, what will be output for this program I discussed in our last lecture? What will be the output of this program? So it will show hello world, then will come a new line, right? \n. So this is a \escape character that we discussed on slide. \escape, what is that one? in one of the slides is that it has backslash escape. This one, backslash n, new line, it creates a new line. Okay, so here it will print hello world, then it will go to a new line, and then it will print again hello world, and then it will go to a new line ln, and then you say Bob was here. Okay, so you see that, for instance, here, so this is a string. Okay, a string is not a primitive data type. You remember that a string is not a primitive data type, it is a class or custom data type. We will learn that in our next last half of this course, how to create our own data type. Okay, so here instead of say putting this hello world, a string must be put in double quote. Okay, so if we say hello world, instead of saying hello world over here, if I declare if I declare a variable, say I say string in Java, we write type in s is in uppercase, this is the type. Okay, I say hw hello world and say equal to, then if I say hello world, okay, and then it is showing me an error message. You see that is red underline, there is an error message. Then I will put every statement, most of the statements end with a semicolon. Like in English, a sentence is ended with a full stop, right, or something, right, or a semicolon or a comma, right? So in programming language, most of the language it's end with a semicolon. Maybe sometime you can give more semicolon, that is fine. Okay, but at least one semicolon sometimes is required. Then we will say print hw here, so it will give us same output. If we run this program, okay, so we do not put the exclamation sign, right, exclamation here, then it will not give exactly same output, because we say okay, if I say plus then backslash n, then it will give us exactly same output. It will give us exactly same output. Okay, see that same output. So here my hw is a variable. What is the type of this variable? String type. Okay, and in C++ and C# we type in s is in lowercase, but in Java we must put s is in uppercase. If you put in lowercase in Java, it will show you an error, it will not work. Okay, so there is a minor variation between language to language. Okay, it will give us an error message. You say that it's showing me error message, it is giving you an error, right? Most of the time this is the place where it errors. You said what is the, so let us try to understand this error message, at least one error message today. What is the error? Cannot find symbol string. Okay, in this line, and the symbol class string, and the location in class main, location is class main. Here it is showing me this error message. So must remember that it should be s is in uppercase for Java. Anyone has any questions so far? Okay, so here this program, if we want to use it in Java, in C#, okay, so we can comment this out and we can use same thing. It will do same thing. In C#, usually it is s is in lowercase, but if we can give it in uppercase also. Okay, sorry, we need this one, right? Here it should be, and we say hw and let us put ln line. It will do same thing. Okay, so it will give us same output. And in C sharp, actually better if you say s is in lowercase, that is say it is showing that is just keyword, right? It is giving an exact format, but its uppercase is fine also. We will do same thing. Okay, and then now in C++. So in C++, if we want to say this one, so string HW equal to hello world, right? So then whatever we can do here, instead of printing this, we say HW. HW is the name of our string, and then it will give us same output. Anyone has any question? Okay, I am giving you today 4-5 programs to practice. Okay, this is the program. These are the programs that give me 1 more minute, please. So these are the program. Please go to module part 1 and part 2. So module, these 2 modules. Please go to here. These slides, module 1 and module 2. These 2 slides. Okay, and whatever programs you see here, please practice. Okay, if you do not practice this program, ultimately after a few weeks, after a week, you will get trouble. You will be behind. Okay, but anyhow, by this week, preferably before you come to next lecture, if you practice this 4-5 programs, you will be good. Start. You will be in good shape. Okay. Anyone has any questions so far? Okay, so I did some rush and I did not go through sequentially, but please practice all of these programs. And maybe one thing I need to skip, look at again in our next lecture, that how to use read line, for instance, using keyboard. Okay, one program I will give on. Except this program, maybe reading text from user. Please practice all other programs. Okay, and then you should be good. So anyone from online has any question? Okay, if there is no question, thank you everybody. Thank you so much, and I will see you day after tomorrow. I put an announcement video. See the announcement. So everybody is good in online?